This is the story of Mother Teresa of Calcutta. We shall remember her during the green and growing time of the church year after Pentecost. But I wonder why we remember Teresa. Let's see. A little girl named Agnes was born in Skopje, Macedonia, to Albanian parents. Her father died when she was only 8 years old, but her mother began her own business. She sewed beautiful things out of cloth. While Agnes was a teenager, she became very close to God. So, in 1928, she left home to go to Ireland, to the Loreto Convent in Dublin. When she joined the convent, she was named Teresa. The nuns in Dublin then sent her to India, where she became a Loreto nun in 1937. She lived mostly in Calcutta, where she taught at St. Mary's, a school for wealthy girls. One day, she found an old woman dying in the streets. She was so weak that the rats and ants had eaten part of her body. Teresa was not very big, but she picked up the lady and took her to a hospital. They would not let her in, so Teresa of Calcutta began to help all the people she could who had no place to go. In 1948, she left the convent where she had been teaching and stopped wearing the clothes of a nun. She chose instead to wear a sari, like the ladies of India. It was white, with a blue border on it, and with a little cross fastened to her shoulder. Then she spent every day helping the poorest of the poor of Calcutta. She became a nurse to help more, especially the people who were dying alone on the street. She even wiped the flies out of their eyes. In the 1950s, she gathered her many helpers into a new religious order. They worked only with the poor as she did. Sister Teresa became known as Mother Teresa because she was like a mother to all her helpers. This new group was called the Missionaries of Charity. Charity is a kind of love that loves when no one loves back. She helped the sick and dying, but she also worked for peace. One time, she said, "If you want to work for peace, don't talk to your friends, talk to your enemies." She did so much work for peace that she won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1979. When she went to receive the prize, she gave the money of the prize and the food for the banquet to the poor. She always knew what to do. When the Pope was shot in Rome, she immediately went to see him. When there was a hospital full of children in danger in Beirut, she stopped the fighting until the children could be taken care of. When she had a heart attack in Rome, she went home to Calcutta. That was where she died. Thousands of people came from all over the world to her funeral. She was carried through the streets to her burial in the same carriage that carried Gandhi, another great worker for peace, to his burial in India. We remember Teresa because she cared for the poor and sick for God. Now I wonder, what parts of Teresa's story you like the best? I wonder what part of the story is the most important. I wonder what part of the story is about you, or where you might be in the story. I wonder if we could leave any part of the story out and still have all the story that we need. Now, let me show you what is inside this booklet and how you might work with it yourself. Here is the map that shows where Teresa lived. Here is the flag of India. Here is the timeline when Teresa lived. And here is the story of Teresa's life. Now, let me show you how to put the story away. Here is the sari, like the one Teresa wore after she started helping the poorest of the poor. Here is the bowl and the cloth that reminds us that Teresa learned how to be a nurse so that she could care for the sick. Here is the plaque that reminds us how she worked for peace. Here is the booklet that helps us remember all about Teresa. And here is the green underlay, because we remember Teresa during the green and growing season of the year. Now, I wonder, what would you like to make your work today so that you can remember the life of Teresa? Thank you, and join us again next week for another story.